So, Animal was the first guy you ever built a bike with. Did you decide to build another bike after that, or did you stay in the bike game? Like, what happened, or were you just still skateboarding?
Well, I was about halfway through building that first bike when I came across the second bike, basket case, 67 generator shovel. This one was cool. The first one was a stock bike, you know, but this Jenny shovel, it's funny because when you hang around the bike shop long enough, eventually you start meeting people and people start rolling through and you hear about all the deals and people that need to come up with some money for their, you know, pay their lawyer and pay their child support and pay fucking whatever they've got to pay, you know, and man, this deal came through for $3,500. It was a 67 generator shovel. It was a chopped frame with a 20 over twisted Springer front end, and it was all basket. I mean, it was in pieces. It was cool, and it was going to be cooler than the bike I was already building. So I came up with half the money. I borrowed the other half from my dad. We became partners on that bike. I ended up finishing both bikes within a few weeks of each other. I finished obviously the first one first, but I had the second one done, you know, the same month. And now all of a sudden I'm just, you know, not even 19 yet, and I've got two sick freaking Harleys. And I started taking them out to shows, and people really liked the work I had done too. I mean, I made most of the parts that I didn't have because I couldn't afford to buy shit. I started making bits and pieces, and people started hitting me up for those bits and pieces. About another year had gone by. I'm probably going on 20 at this point, and I got hit up by a company that builds motorcycle parts to build parts for them. And so I started doing that, and I'm still working on my dad's machine shop. I've got less time to run amok and skate. My knee's been exploded at this point, so I really can't do that anyway. I spent a lot more time at work trying to turn out more parts, started designing some forward controls because at the time, you know, there was only a couple of options, and neither one, you know, one was really expensive and the other one was so cookie cutter. I mean, it was just really generic, and it seemed like everybody had that set of controls. We started building our own forward controls, and I went to a few places and showed them off, and the next thing I know, I got two distributors selling my forward controls. I got Custom Chrome and Drag Specialties are both selling my controls, and I got Biker's Choice selling them. So I got a product line now, and it's selling through the distributors, and I'm actually making a little bit of side money. I went to Indianapolis to the B-Twin Expo. I set up a little 10 by 10 booth. Me and Dad went, we hung out. We didn't know anyone. We got stuck at some horrible spot upstairs in this room that had no traffic, and there's just a million people downstairs, and people are rolling through there and not even paying attention to us, so all of us vendors are just hanging out. So after the first day, it was really boring. No one's paying too much attention to us, so Jesse called me up and he said, "Hey dude, I'm in town, let's go out tonight." So we went out and drank like the world was coming to a fucking end the next day. I crawled into the show the next morning. I think I actually slept under the display table because there was a nice curtain around the front of it, you know. I think I slept under that thing the first 4 hours of the day. I drugged myself out of there, and I was walking around trying to get my head right. I run into this guy who was set up across from us, and I had heard of this company called Ultra Motorcycles, and I knew they were in Riverside. Dude hit me up to start building parts for him, and when I got home from that show, there was an order on the fax machine for $1.8 million worth of motorcycle parts. So I go from having this little hobby that I do every now and then, you know, on the side to make some extra cash, to making a little product line that was doing all right and probably selling $3,000 or $4,000 a month worth of parts. So now I got this huge order, and I got a huge problem because I didn't know how the hell I was going to build all that stuff. I was working on my dad's shop and I was using machines after hours, but now I've got this huge freaking order. What am I going to do? I got to buy my own machines.